Hey, what's going on, guys? Drama 22 coming back. Gonna do a little in between videos, not really a full part two of the part of the scheme, the Shanahan scheme. It's a little bit more of a we need to start playing games, and I'm gonna also be using this in my games. Um, as you game plan a system, it's really hard sometimes to get everything down on paper and then actually execute it. You got to start getting used to the play calls, the situations, things like that. So I'm just going to show you the Shanahan 2 playbook, which I am working on, and I'm going to show you my favorites. I already kind of started doing that right now. So actually, let me do this. Let me jump back over to my computer and actually show you the ready sheet and how I kind of am organizing the favorites on the ready sheet. Okay, so I know it's a lot of stuff here. I'm gonna give this sheet to you guys on Patreon. You can have this sheet. This is the ready sheet that I use when I build out my formations. Kind of makes me keep track of things. Also has the formation names and the play names in case you need to like go back and find it. But I've done this for plenty of years, really, without knowing why. It just made sense to me, and it's the process I think we need to go through is building these families, right? So you have a formation. You don't want to just be known as a guy that runs one formation and only runs one play out of it, right? You want to have at least two or three, maybe four, five, six. But for right now, I'm just going to go with either three or six. And these are the plays that work together. So we already talked about the strong left formation that I'm using right now and how we're going to get to these three plays here. So I went through every scenario, and these are the plays that you're going to see in my ready sheet, the ones in yellow. Okay. So I went down the list. I kind of picked out my favorite formation so far. I'm not including drop back passes in there. I'll talk more about that later, but I just want to show that to you. All right. So let's go back over to the Madden field. And this is why this is going to be a video that hold on one second, is not going to be a video where I'm actually going through the how to run these plays. It's more like, hey, let's look at the families. Let's make sure everything is nice and neat. And if you had to go play a game tonight, you can get through your first and second down packages pretty much with this run and play action package. Okay. Now we have the eye close, eye strong eye close. I'm sorry. We know about these three plays. They all look the same for the most part. I will say that the middle play is their inside zone play that 100% corresponds with the actual play action play, right? So let me just say I run this play stock. Doesn't matter the coverage. I go against cover one, right? So this is a split zone looking play, right? We fake it to the right. We go to the right? Halfbacks going to the right there. It's a 14 run play. And then obviously we have the play action that works off of that as well, right? Looks exactly the same. You want that to be part of your package. And that by itself will win you games. I think you can win half your game. You can have an offense that will allow you to win half your games just by doing those two plays. Okay. Now, when you play somebody online or you play somebody in a league, they're going to have to make a choice, especially in a simulation league, if they want to put their defense on stopping outside zone runs, outside runs, inside runs. Some people use medium pass, some people use deep pass, whatever. I find that in the game itself, the inside run, if you put your defense to stop the inside run, that is one of the hardest. It actually plays the run really well. I mean, you get a lot of great block sheds just from up front. So a lot of people do that. And the weakness to it is the play action game. So I think in your game plan, because this is also a video game, my point is we need to run the ball inside. So we need to be 50% run inside, 50% run outside, even though our scheme is outside zone. We need to still run the ball inside enough. And I'm thinking that you want people to know that you run the ball inside and not be able to stop it so that you can also open up the play action game. Conversely, if you don't care about that, right, and you just want to run outside zone, that PA deep cross play, which is one of the plays in the system for one of the as I call it, two-man deep shot game, is cool, but it's not necessarily the play that you want to run if you're just going to run outside zone. You want to run more of the boot plays, which, as you can see right here, I don't even have the boot plays really set up. I have it here with this PA boot slide, right? The reason why I'm saying this is PA boot slide. This is actually a good play. Let's just run it. Deuce, right? You're going to get a lot of horizontal stretching, right? And the horizontal stretch that you really want to take advantage of is that over route. And we'll talk more about the reads and stuff like that. But throwing the ball to the flat is great. But the real power of this is throwing the ball to that over route that's going about like 10 to 15 yards across the field. The bad thing is that most users play that. You know what I'm saying? If you're playing somebody who is a good linebacker user, safety user, they're going to take away that route. But the only thing that you can physically do or you can get into their head is by running outside zone enough to get them to stretch, to get them to run fast. Okay. So all of these stretch plays work towards getting a user linebacker in the middle of the field or a user safety to come running down and not be able to recover on a boot. Okay, so as we kind of build this package out, boot plays like this, like PA boot rollout, are only good versus users that are using a middle linebacker, okay, or a safety, and they are getting out of there so that you can throw the over route. And you can probably throw it on time quicker than you even see what I'm doing right here. So just understand that. So the system is boots and it is stretch that go together. Those two things go together if you want to beat a user. If somebody's using like a D lineman, it doesn't matter, man. Like you're just really kind of like you're hoping the computer reacts, and a lot of times the computer plays perfect defense, especially on the all Madden level that we play on. Okay, so going back though, let's just go through the family real quick, and I'll just kind of end it after like 5 minutes of doing this. I'm always going to have stretch as a main play. We want to make sure we run it. If we get the look, we want to run those plays, and then you're going to see a play inside run, and then you're going to see the run that works off of it. So I'm just going to show you the play. I'm not going to actually click on every single one, but I formation pro, you have I formation slot. This is a good play. There's some little things that we'll talk about as we go through the play calls to get it set. Actually, let me just show you this one real quick. Actually, um, use I formation PX dig. You might have to use this on a hash. Unfortunately, I really hate to tell you guys this because if you run this play stock, the running back, I mean, the halfback goes to the right, which I don't understand. I mean, the fullback goes to the right and then sneaks out to the left. Don't understand why he does that. All right. So if you were on the right hash and the formation was into the boundary, you can now take the fullback, what I suggest, and put him into a flat route, hot route. Okay. And that's going to look like the blast play. He's going to go right to the flat right now, and you're good to go. Okay. So just realize that we might have to use some of that in the formation into the boundary stuff to make sure the fullback does his thing. It also applies to running the I formation slot formation dagger play. Where is it at? Okay, so same thing here. If you let this thing go stock, you will see that the fullback would just go to the right, and then go and then come out through the line of scrimmage. And a lot of times he gets bumped or he doesn't get out clean. You might like that, but it doesn't look the same as running the actual bleed blast play. If you do want to run a split flow action play, we do have some of those in here. I have one actually. I have one in I formation slot, 94 will. There really aren't a lot in Madden this year in the I formation. This one is a little bit the opposite though. The fullback goes to the right, left, I'm sorry, and the halfback goes to the right. I don't think I can flip this play. No, you can't. But it is split flow. I just still think that it's going to be better to run this play with the full flow action because we're going to be doing that more often with the fullback in the backfield. Okay. So just remember that. I just want to let you know you need to probably put down a hash and make the adjustments. Let's fly through the rest of this. We have I formation, Y close, which I think is I chunk. Okay, we have zone toss, which is the same thing as running outside zone. We're just tossing the ball. We have the lead play. Okay, and this one here we have PA deep read. There are other options. There are other plays you can use, but I like the PA deep read. It's a nice play that works over the middle of the field. Most users can't cover both these routes. All right. The one thing adjustment again I would make, it doesn't matter where the ball is here, but take the fullback and put him on a triple option. So he sits down in the middle of the field. He might bump it to the quarterback. It's the only bad thing. You see that right there. But he goes into the middle of the field, gives you somewhere else to check the ball down to. Right. And then you got the fullback, you got the halfback who's doing the play action to the flat. I just feel like that's better. You don't have to do that, but that's just an option for you. There we go. So we got the nice, again, PA deep read works really off of the zone read, the zone weak play in the middle. We have our I formation Z close. All right. Pretty obvious. We got the drift play on the right-hand side, that dag. So these things all you can kind of see. We have wide zone pretty much in every play call. We have an inside run, okay, and then we have something that works off of that. This one is the leak play, Y leak. We'll talk about that later. Then we get back into our deuce close. We have a nice little regular keeper slide play, keeper play. I was looking at the play actions right now. This is another good like flood. I think they call it. I'm not sure if they call it sail. They have a name for it. It could be just Y banana or this would be F banana. Okay, but that works off of that. So these are the plays that you're going to be running. You can see this one here, another keeper slide on first and second down, regardless, if it's first and if it's second and long. This is where you want to pretty much hang your hat. And it seems kind of repetitive, but I think you want to run outside zone 10 times a game, inside zone 10 times a game, and then run the boot. I would say you probably want to run at least two per quarter. You might run three per quarter, depending on the situation. So just understand that. So you're talking about maybe 10 to 12 boots in a game. Don't, that's a big chunk of your offense. That right there is 30 plays. And then the other 15 to 20 are going to be your dropbacks, which will be a combination of three-step and then some of the plays that we get to. That has to be your offense if you want to run the Shanahan style. You want to control the game. You want to control the narrative. You want to build off of these plays, and go from there. I'll talk about how I'm going to like go into a drive and maybe call these plays. I think I'm going to pick like two or three formations and just rotate the plays that way and just run them and go from there. Okay. Last one is the bunch X nasty. Again, we can make this 21, 12 personnel, 11 personnel, but we have our counter motions. We have our, again, keeper slide play. And then there's a bunch of runs here. So there's some good play actions here. And then there's some good runs. Oops, I'm sorry. That's just one formation. My bad. These are the ones right here. So we have our run play, like right here, wide zone, and this would be 19 Wanda going to the left. And then we have the regular keeper play off of that. We also have our that would be our blazer, our Yankee type concept over on the right part of the screen, the PA deep cross go. And then we have some other plays that work off of the sift action or somebody coming back across the ball action. Okay, so we can use these three to kind of work together. And then we have our last set here, which I'm not 100% settled on, but this is just 2x2 play action. Again, we have our wide zone, we have our counter type plays or pulling plays, and then we have our counter pulling pass plays that work off of that. Okay, so I have one 2x2 gunplay set up right here. This is pretty simple. You can see it inside zone. This is the slammer play in the middle, the jailbreak screen, and then we have our keeper on the right. And then that's it. Everything from this point on is more drop back, situational, third down, red zone, stuff like that. So we'll get to that later. But I just want to give you guys the beginning of this. So if you want to jump into a game soon and kind of like let me know how this works. I've technically been using this style of offense for a long time without even realizing it. It just makes sense to me, making these families work. You don't have to call your game from here, but if you ever get stuck looking at the play call sheet and you're like, oh, I don't know what to do, just come over here. This stuff is ready for you. You can keep track of how many times you called it in a game. That's the great thing too. And I'll leave it with this. If you have a league that keeps the play counts on, like you can only call a play like 5 times, or some leagues put it at 20, like my league, just to make sure we're keeping track. The great thing is you can tell in that game how many times you called it. So as you go through your formations and it hits like the third quarter, you can come back and be like, oh, okay, I've called this play. I've called off tackle once in this game. Let me start getting to the complementary plays. And that's going to make your offense so much more balanced. All right. All right, guys, that's the Kyle Shanahan. Again, we're going to be fullback heavy. We're going to be running weak heavy. If you want to use the McVay version of this, and I'm going to start talking about Liam Cohen as well, you're going to run a little bit more tight end heavy. You're going to be more 11 personnel heavy, 12 and 11 personnel. But we're going to also, and then they have a little bit different drop back game when we get to it. But in general, this is the way you guys get started. Just want to give you this video for the weekend. I'll jump back on here soon and start giving you guys the rest of part 2, part 3, breaking down all the plays, looking at the play call sheets and stuff like that, looking at the actual playbooks. I just wanted to give you this little intro because I'm currently playing games in this. I'm doing okay, but it's a slow process. And I just want to make sure you guys know that. One more thing. I didn't say this. Let me just show you something real quick. I apologize. I meant to show you this. I think this is a good formation here. If I let's just call wide zone out of this wing close formation, in my audibles right now, I do have, this is not a good example, but this is a good example. I do have some plays that are, I should have had a different, I do have some drop back plays that are in your audibles. So I have like the base plays that you want to run. For example, a slot, I have the base 3 plays. And then the fourth play is usually a drop back play that should be good against like all out blitz or something like that. All right. All right, guys. I'll catch you on the other side. Talk to you later. Peace.